So welcome back, everyone. I hope you and your families are doing well. So today we have a few big hurdles to tackle. One of them is actually getting the transmission and transfer case under the Jeep. My Jeep is a little low to the ground and I don't have a lift, obviously, so we're going to have to try to finagle this thing underneath the Jeep. I'm thinking we can jack up the frame high enough with the transmission sitting on the jack that we can just slide the whole thing under there and then jack the body back down. Two, we're actually going to install it and see what issues arise with that, and I'm hoping not too many problems. I've done a lot of research on it, so I'm hoping there's just some minor things we have to tweak. So with that, let's get into it and let's start getting this installed and see what happens. Try to get under that mount. Okay. I think that's as high as I want to go. Just a tiny bit more.
Keep going. A bit more.
Okay, a quick note for your dust shield here while you're putting this together. It is going to use the bolts supplied. They're a little bit different thread pitch than what came off. So you're not going to use the little like self-tapping looking screws that came out. Also, you're going to get lock washers with it. So that's pretty good. All right, we're back underneath. So this is your transmission mount right here, or where your transmission mount actually mounts. And we're going to put the mount up here and make sure it's going to fit. Now I already kind of test fitted, so I know we're going to have the clearance right here. But let's just double check. So luckily the bolt pattern is the same. It will line up, but it's a little too far this direction. And that's because it's running into these bolts here on the transmission. So if we go and clearance those out a touch, it should line up just fine. Okay, it's all cleaned up, at least the area we're going to paint. One thing that I've learned a lot by living in Utah, because they use so much salt, is that a little coat of primer goes a long way in helping this paint stay adhered. I'm just going to do these bolt holes while I'm here. Alright, so the transmission is mostly in. We don't have it mounted yet, obviously, and that's for good reason. I want to address the plug here for the reverse wire switch. So this is the plug that comes on your 05, 06, probably 04 TJs. It's kind of funky looking. It's probably a Mercedes plug, I'm sure. And this right here, if you can see this is the plug that comes on X15s, and I'm sure it comes on the NV35502. Now, this right here just happens to be a GM weather pack connector, so I'm told. And luckily, if you go to your local Napa, or that's where I got mine at, they sell GM weather pack connectors. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this plug off, and then we're going to install a GM weather pack connector, and that'll be nice and look all factory and just plug right in there, and we won't have to hack too much apart. So let's get into that. Let's do it. Okay, so I went ahead and replaced some of the shielding in there because it was bad and taped all this up. I probably should have done this after the fact, but we're going to install the GM weather pack connector now. Now, one thing about these, I may have a little too, I think we're good, is that they're a little hard to do. I don't have the crimper, so I'm going to do this just with the needleless pliers, but essentially these little tangs right here hold your wire, and these big ones right here hold the end of your rubber boot here, and that's kind of how it's supposed to be done. So we're going to do the best we can without having that crimper. I went ahead and cut some more of the shielding back just so I could grab on the wire easier, because these are quite a bit difficult. So we're going to do this in kind of stages. I'm going to crimp a little bit of wire on here first. Okay, that should be firmly on there now. We're going to take the rubber boot, and this is the part that's a little more difficult to do, but we're going to try to do it with this tool. Like that. There you go. And then we just repeat, and then we'll put the connector together. There we are. And we're going to grab our connector here. And I actually like to fill this with a little bit of dielectric grease. Before just poking them in there all the way. Okay, there's one. And two. There you go. Now you got a good strong connection, and it's water sealed. And we'll take that and just plug this guy in here. Just like that. And we're done. And I'll go around and put new sheeting and put some tape and stuff around that, and or shielding, I mean. Go around and put some tape around that stuff and clean it all up and zip tie it back up here where there's a nice zip tie spot, so it's nice and clean. So that's it for the wiring so far. Okay, so I think we're going to end the video there. I'm still waiting for that primer to dry. Once it is, we'll go ahead and throw some black on it in the next video. Off camera, I'm going to torque up the transmission bolts on the engine side. And just get that done. It's very easy. You can look up the specs anywhere. It's not very hard to do, except for the top two bolts. They can be a little bit challenging, but you got to go through the inside of the Jeep to do it correctly. Anyway, guys, so that's going to be it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one. Hopefully, we'll finish it up in that video. We're getting close though, and I'm getting anxious to drive it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.